What would you do if your family constantly undermined your professional achievements and then hurled a racist insult your way? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My marriage to Amelia has been a decade-long journey, a beautiful blend of cultures. I'm of Asian descent, and she's Caucasian. For the most part, her family, including her mother, Clara, her brother, Ben, and her sister, Olivia, have been welcoming. However, I always sensed a subtle coolness from her father, Douglas, and her other sister, Veronica. I'm not just a home cook. I'm a professionally trained chef with over 15 years of experience. My culinary world thrives in a high-end Chinese restaurant in a bustling American city, a direct offshoot of a renowned establishment in Beijing. My team and I have garnered numerous awards, and I'm slated to be the next executive chef. Meanwhile, Veronica, also a professionally trained chef, boasts about her work at a popular upscale French restaurant in the same city. She constantly compares herself to culinary giants like Ramsay and Bourdain, often out loud. Whenever I found myself helping out in Clara and Douglas's kitchen, Veronica would inevitably swoop in, dissecting my every move, whether I was chopping vegetables, braising meat, or marinating ingredients. She'd interject with unsolicited advice. I think you should actually do X like this. For Amelia's sake, I'd always tried to be patient, sidestepping her comments with polite deflections like, "Thanks, but I think I'll stick to the way I do it." The simmering tension finally boiled over 2 weeks ago. Amelia, Douglas, Clara, and I were in their kitchen, a flurry of activity as we prepped dinner for Clara's birthday. We were a bit behind schedule, and the kitchen hummed with a frantic energy that, ironically, reminded me of the organized chaos of my own professional kitchen. Just then, Veronica strode in, her gaze swept over my work, and a scoff escaped her lips. "Oh wow, okay, so that's not the right way of doing things," she declared, her voice laced with disdain. That comment struck a nerve. My patience, a well I had drawn from countless times, ran dry. I turned to her, my voice firm and clear. "Stop criticizing my cooking. I'm a chef, just like you." A sharp, derisive laugh burst from her. "Making kung pao chicken at some Chinese restaurant doesn't count," she sneered, her words hanging heavy in the sudden silence of the kitchen. The air thickened. Douglas let out a snort, a sound that was unmistakably a chuckle, while Clara erupted. "Veronica, what is wrong with you?" I paused, my hands still. A wave of fury washed over me. "You racist piece of shit," I spat, the words a raw release. Turning to Clara, I added, "I'm sorry, Clara, but I can't stay." Without another word, Amelia and I left. Veronica made a foolish decision at that moment, completely unaware that this single act would lead to her own downfall. This reveals Veronica's greatest fatal flaw, her deep-seated prejudice, which ultimately sealed her fate. The aftermath, as we later learned, was an explosion. Clara, Ben, and Olivia vehemently defended me, while Douglas and Veronica, unrepentant, dismissed it as a joke but kind of true and called me too sensitive. The conflict rippled through the extended family, sparking arguments and drawing lines in the sand. Amelia even received texts from cousins apologizing for Veronica's behavior. Despite being on my side, Amelia pleaded with me to apologize, hoping to quell the storm, but I refused. Veronica's blatant racism left no room for capitulation. As one commenter aptly put it, "NTA, cooking Asian food doesn't count as cooking is racist." Incredibly uncalled for, and shows how much of an entitled know-it-all Veronica is. Glad most people over there are on your side, but yeah, don't apologize when you did nothing wrong. Later, Amelia informed me that Veronica was blaming me for potential trouble at her job. Apparently, a coworker had overheard Veronica ranting about the incident and reported it to management. "If Veronica gets fired for being a racist at work," another comment read, "guess what? The person she was racist at ain't the problem." Then came the nuclear escalation. One of Amelia's cousins found my online post and brazenly shared it on Veronica's social media, tagging her with, "This is you, right?" The comments section quickly filled with messages like, "If this is you, Veronica, then I'm disappointed." Amelia was furious, and I braced myself for the fallout. A voicemail from Douglas sealed my resolve. He declared that my presence was only being tolerated up until this point and threatened a world of hurt if I didn't delete my post. That call solidified my decision to keep the post up. A silent message to Douglas. I'm very disappointed in you. You're better than this. The situation spiraled. Amelia received a tearful, screaming call from Veronica. Veronica had been demoted to a line cook, blaming her Asian slur husband for her downfall. Co-workers had seen the social media post and, combined with her earlier rant, had shown it to management. Veronica was now on the verge of being fired. Amelia, having endured Veronica's verbal abuse and reading the supportive comments on my post, snapped. She told Veronica to go fuck herself and was now unequivocally on my side. Though still upset by the chaos, her loyalty was firm. Amelia then called Clara, confused by Douglas's threats. Amelia played the voicemail I had saved, and Clara, without hanging up, began screaming at Douglas. The social media post, meanwhile, had devolved into a full-blown family flame war. It had, as I predicted, gone nuclear. The following week was a blur. Amelia and I had to deactivate our social media accounts to escape the deluge. Some even tried to call my restaurant, seeking my termination. Fortunately, my boss and colleagues stood by me, with my boss declaring, "Fuck, Veronica. Fuck those racists. Fuck them so goddamn much." The caller's threats and racial slurs only solidified their support. Then, on a Sunday night, Clara arrived at our doorstep, overnight bags in tow. After helping her settle in, she revealed everything. Douglas, it turned out, had already been struggling in his marriage with Clara, a rift widened by differing political views since 2016. The Kung Pao incident and his voicemail had been the final straw. When Douglas refused to apologize, Clara asked for a divorce. His furious reaction led her to seek refuge with us, as her other children lived out of town. The extended family's online war, Clara explained, was the culmination of years of political division. The social media post had simply ignited the powder keg. The fallout, she claimed, had already resulted in breakups, excommunications, and even an argument that involved the police. Veronica had visited Clara on Friday. The writing was on the wall. She was essentially forced to quit her job. Despite her attempts to start anew as a line cook, the staff had ostracized her. Her dishes were left unwashed, and she was met with a cold shoulder. While Veronica is undeniably a skilled chef, her workplace took no chances, especially since it was partly owned by a Chinese investment company. The news of her behavior spread quickly through the local culinary industry, effectively blacklisting her from high-end establishments. She was now contemplating selling her home and relocating for work. As much as I disliked her actions, I hadn't intended for this level of repercussion. I even reached out to contacts in other states to see if there were any openings for her. She still hadn't apologized, but I still wanted to extend a decent hand. It doesn't feel like a happy ending, more like a bittersweet form of justice. This story underscores the profound impact of prejudice and the importance of standing firm against it, even when facing familial pressure. What would you have done in this situation? And do you believe the consequences Veronica faced were justified?